So this is 5 times now. I should probably make sure it's gonna run first. Okay, it is. This is 5 times now that I've tried to go to sleep and then been woken up by a gentleman here yelling. Oh, there it started over again. I don't know what's going on with that. It was at almost 30 seconds and then now it's at 11. Anyway, this is 5 times now I've tried to go to sleep and been woken up, or not even gotten to sleep because he keeps screaming in his sleep. Screaming that everybody needs to get up, everybody needs to wake up. Screaming about lazy bitches in his sleep. Okay, so in the link description here, there's a video with, well, one of the things I found today was Mandy Singer. I was typing up Sean David on one of the videos to try to find the Jamie Again video, and I came across one where somebody took one of the witnesses to my situation that I was literally in when Natalie died. It's not the situation you guys are told. Well, you guys are told that I made missing persons posts about Natalie Bollinger before anybody knew she was missing. Fact is, I made those missing persons posts before Natalie went missing. People were still in contact with Natalie Bollinger when I made the post about Mandy Singer's son going missing. We're at 1:45 now, so I could probably get into the Andrew Wolnez thing. In the link description, it's got this is just from yesterday. All that was just from yesterday. It's not from 6 months ago or 6 years ago. It's from yesterday. And this morning I got to see Joan Stevens again. The first video is Andrew Wolnez yesterday riding by and talking shit on his bike. He's got a no contact order. I've got a temporary protection order against him, and I get to take him into court for a full protection order on the 22nd. There's been over 30 situations, close to 30 situations with Andrew Wolnez since getting the temporary permission or the temporary protection order granted. That's not appropriate, and the police have blown me off every time I've gone to them. The place I'm at now, I'm demanded to do so many things. I don't have any time to work on my own stuff. I barely have time to rest up, and that's what I'm doing when I'm making videos now, is trying to recover physically. Sometimes this guy yells only 1 or 2 times. Sometimes he yells 10 or 15 minutes straight in his sleep, so I'm kind of... It gives me a lot of anxiety. Anyway, so the first video is Andrew Wolnez riding by on his bike, and I'm sitting there with Valerie and her dog Powder over by the library, and Andrew Wolnez rides by on his bike, and he's screaming at me that I'm a big baby. The second video is right after he was screaming at me a second time, top of his fucking lungs. Well, I went out and I was asking another feller if I was the only one that heard it. Because, of course, people are always wanting to pretend that I'm schizophrenic and I made it up. If I'm not able to record it, if I am able to record it, they just pretend that I didn't record it. That's stupid. especially knowing my history of recording. Anyway, so the second time that he went by, I went out and I talked to another guy out here named Sean. And he was talking about taking a baseball bat to Andrew Wolnez's head for the stuff that he was screaming. So then the third time, I was walking with Valerie and Powder. I'd run into them later on, probably about, 20 or 30 minutes later, and I was telling her about Andrew Wolnez doing that stuff again. And as I was trying to explain what was going on, and she was walking with me for my safety, by the way, I am thankful for her. I am thankful for Miss Valerie. She was my battle buddy. Well, her dog was my battle buddy, and so is she out there at the helping hands. Maybe I shouldn't use the term battle buddy. So he was yelling at her in the third video, and you can hear that as well. She engages back. I don't. Yeah, I do want to yell back at him, hey, leave people the fuck alone. Leave them alone. She was obviously walking with me. He obviously targeted her. Same thing that he did to Miss Caitlin. Miss Caitlin was a witness to him breaking the protection order. She wrote it down even. So he went after her. See, that's what happens when you have to go to court and get a protection order, and they just force you to hand all that stuff over to your predators. And that allows those predators like Andrew Wolnez access to victimize more people. That just allows Andrew Wolnez access to Caitlin's name and number, allowing him to victimize her the same way that he's victimizing me. The fourth video last night was with Andrew Wolnez again. The first three were all within an hour's time. The fourth video with Andrew Wolnez is I'm getting ready to leave here. I'm gonna go to the store. And I hear this screaming. Of course, I got my camera. I pull it out. What the fuck is going on? Turns out it's Andrew Wolnez. He's yelling at John Stevens, who assaulted me 2 weeks ago. About 2 weeks ago. He assaulted me on March 2nd. Twice. Andrew Wolnez assaulted me the first time on, let me make sure I get this correct, September 21st of last year. Now during this period of time, them youngins were throwing pumpkins at my vehicle. They were throwing fireworks at my vehicle. Andrew Wolnez came up to mess with me about those youngins who were screaming the N-word out the window, calling me a homosexual, and I gotta deal with this from Chris Stafford too. Calling me gay boy and gay man. The fourth video yesterday was Andrew Wolnez getting ready to get into a fight with John Stevens. I know John Stevens to be someone who is violent. He's been violent with me, and he was also violent with a man named Kyle. A lot of people here in Tillamook know Kyle. He was outside of the Safeway there, chipping at the ground for quite a while. He was also juggling apples and juggling some other stuff. Wore a bright jacket, had a bunch of signs attached to his cart. So I got footage of John Stevens assaulting Kyle right next to the Safeway right after he had shown me his gun. and I wanted to guess that it was a BB gun. Wishful thinking, but I don't know if it was real or not. Because he was talking about having protection from Andrew Wolnez and his powerful friends. He is not worried because he's packing. And that's all recorded. And right after that, he started a fight with Kyle. And then Kyle yelled at me. Later on, Kyle apologized to me. So did John. John told me that he's got nothing to hide. I'm free to record whenever I want. And then he gets angry and throws a tantrum at me. And then he apologizes later on. And then he takes it back and throws a tantrum at me again. And then he apologizes again later on. And then he takes it back over and over again. So when you hear that fourth video, when I realize it's Andrew Wolnez, you get to hear it just like in the Jamie Again video. In the Jamie Again video, when Jamie is getting hit in the back of the head, what's the first thing I do? I scream. I get the predator's attention on me. No, I was not going to have that behemoth of a man beating on Jamie in the Dalles, Oregon. And tonight, when Andrew Wolnez was threatening to kill John Stevens, it doesn't matter that John Stevens assaulted me twice in the same day. It doesn't matter that he's threatened harm against me before. What matters is I'm not going to watch John Stevens get fucking stabbed in front of me. I have every reason to believe that John Stevens would be dumb enough to pull out that gun. I have every reason to believe that John Stevens would get physically violent, because he has been physically violent on my channel, with myself and with others, and he was recorded doing it. We've also got him recorded saying that he got fentanyl from Andrew Wolnez. That he hated having to listen to Wolnez for 30 minutes for him to measure out 2 minutes worth of fentanyl. John Stevens, that was literally the night that he was a witness to Andrew Wolnez kicking in the side of my vehicle. Yeah, John Stevens watched. Then he walked away. Then he walked back to look at my vehicle. Later on in that video, you get to hear him talking to me, trying to get me to go over by, well, further away from town where Andrew Wolnez wouldn't see him and I talking. We also get to hear him talking about being afraid of getting cut off from his fentanyl supply if he speaks up. With Andrew Wolnez, I have no problems believing that he would get violent. Why is that? Because a protection order is just a piece of paper. It's not going to stop him from harassing his ex-wives, from threatening their lives, from calling them over and over and over again from restricted numbers. The dude's a psycho, like a real psycho. You guys pretend that I'm a psycho because I have mental breakdowns from being harmed by people who are real psychos. With Andrew Wolnez assaulting me on 9 different occasions, 7 of which are recorded on this channel. With him playing victim when you can see in every single one of those videos, I never once approach him. He approaches me every single time. He starts the verbal engagement every single time. And he comes to me to assault me every single time. I don't have to walk to him. He comes to me to harm me, not the other way around. He's also threatened to shoot me. And you get to hear in the fourth video, he threatens to stab John Stevens. Threatens to kill him. What did I do? I broke my silence. Just like I did with Jamie. Until then, I'm just an observer, but the moment you start threatening to kill people, the moment you start putting your hands on people, I don't give a fuck who you are. I'm going to tell on you. You don't get to assault me over and over and over again and pretend that I assaulted you. You don't get to pretend that I'm a druggie. Bear false witness, pretend that you saw me doing drugs. Coming all up on me like a crackhead in a town where people know. Victor down at the recycled video game place spoke to me about Andrew Wolnez. He told me it was hard not to bully Andrew Wolnez because Andrew, well, I guess you'd have to hear that from Victor, wouldn't you? And about Andrew Wolnez with the drugs. Many other people here have spoken about it too, but then when they get busted and somebody confronts them, they don't want to admit it. They're ashamed, especially the druggies, because when it comes down to it, they may have good intentions. Just like with John, that's subject to whether or not he's coming down or not. When he's feeling good, sure, he'll spill all of his deepest, darkest secrets and say how apologetic he is. When he's coming down, he's a different creature. He's wanting, he's jonesing. Many of these drug addicts who've offered to help me have actually shown up. But then the need for their drug got in the way. And they couldn't function without it. And guy went up to the woods to help me move my camp. And in the 8 or 9 hours that we were there, we weren't even there that long. He had to poop 3 different times for 45 minutes apiece. And then he'd come back and he'd talk nonstop until it was time to go poop again. Cost me $100 to hire him for the day. Plus the gas to go up the mountain and back. And the time. You've gotten to see on my channel that it's not just Andrew Wolnez, it's also Chris Stafford. You get to hear how these people are angry about the same thing too. What is that? Being recorded on my channel. Many of them gave me permission to record. Most of them, matter of fact. But then they got angry when they realized I was actually telling the truth. I have over 2,500 subscribers now. That's a lot of people. Anyway, I'm obviously not talking about alien conspiracies. I'm not blaming it on the Illuminati or the CIA or the Freemasons. I'm not blaming unicorns or leprechauns. It's not at all about my lucky charms, is it? No, these are very real world problems, people. Poverty is a real world problem. Discrediting victims by calling them mentally ill is a very real world problem. Playing on bias against men, against the disabled, against the homeless is a very real world problem. For us, having to rely on alcoholics and drug addicts who have housing is a very real problem. For us being sent to police and mental health places that have more incentive on having you come back again and again and again for appointments than actually investigating any crimes against you. This is horrible. Now I want you to imagine, even though John Stevens assaulted me and Andrew Wolnez assaulted me, I don't want Andrew Wolnez stabbing John Stevens to death, and I don't want John Stevens stabbing Andrew Wolnez to death. And I have literally seen with my own 2 eyes John Stevens' gun. It's a 1911 style slide action. I might be a cheap piece of shit. Slide action. It might be a pellet gun, it might be a BB gun, it might be a 9mm. I don't know. And that's what scares the fuck out of me. I would rather John Stevens shoot me than shoot Andrew Wolnez. And I would rather have Andrew Wolnez stab me than have him stab John Stevens, regardless of the fact that both of them have been violent with me. And I know both of them are packing. Do we want an armed shootout in the middle of the intersection between the Vision Center, the Safeway, the Elks Lodge, the library, and the bank? This is a small town. That is the wrong place to be having a shootout or a stabbing. That'll make every newspaper from here to Portland. Every newspaper from here to Portland. Are any of these people thinking about that? Andrew Wolnez wanted to make false accusations, wanted to accuse me of things I didn't do, then wanted to brag about it and brag about playing head games and mind games. He wanted to work together with, predators of mine in real life and on the internet. Long-term predators. Some of them have been predators since before Andrew Wolnez knew I exist. Some of them, like that Ted Turner, aka Fred Turner, aka Fred Burner, aka Fred Turner accounts. He's been doing this since 2018. They've also made multiple accounts in my friends and family members' names. My dad's name, my brother's name, my sister's name. My niece's grandma's name. Also Nicole Nudson's mom's name. Andrew Wolnez is just one more violent person in all of this. Just like his friend John Napier. He assaulted me on the 1st of this month, and I still need help turning that in. I don't mean his protection order, I mean that motherfucker assaulted me, goddammit. Same thing with Andrew Wolnez. Same thing with John Stevens. And as far as Andrew Wolnez's family is concerned. When they've gotten a hold of me, they've always been cordial and polite. His daughter has not offered up any sort of violence towards anyone. Now, Mona Napier, she was a witness to one of the situations with Andrew Wolnez. It's also recorded on my channel. How can you expect me to take this kind of abuse and still function to do anything? Anyway, the video in the link description has 5 videos overall. 4 videos with Wolnez today, and 1 video with Mandy Singer in it. About the situation with Natalie Bollinger. Before Natalie Bollinger ever disappeared, I told you I helped find missing people. That's what I did. I told you I passed out blankets to homeless people. That's what I did. I told you that I walked homeless people to warming centers, and that's what I did. I told you I let Josh Hughes live out there at my shop out on Arapahoe, and that's what I did. I told you Andrew Wolnez threatened to stab and to kill John Stevens tonight. You got to hear how I was just talking to the camera until he was threatening to kill people. And then I made sure his attention was on me. If someone's going to get shot or someone's going to get stabbed, please don't let it be someone else, not in front of me, please. I don't want to see Andrew Wolnez dead. I don't want to see John Stevens dead. I want them to clean up their stupid lives and leave me the fuck alone, goddammit. Good to be radio. Thank you for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper, and your sister's keeper too, and no victim left behind. By the way, I saw John Stevens at the store tonight. Or this morning, I should say. He was mumbling something at me. I just kept walking. I can't run away from him. I'm not able to run. I'm not physically capable of running. I am too physically disabled to achieve such a goal. That makes it really easy to victimize me.